The fog lay thick on the green, heavy as a held breath. Boots whispered through wet grass. A musket's iron bit cold against a young man's palm, slick with dew and fear. Somewhere beyond the haze, a drum sounded, slow, confident, like a giant's heartbeat marching closer. Eli Turner swallowed. He was no giant slayer. He was a cooper's son with splinters still under his nails and a Bible folded thin in his coat. Across the field stood the king's men, red as a warning, bayonets catching what little light the morning offered. They had numbers. They had training. They had the weight of an empire pressing forward. Eli had prayer. Hours earlier, before the sun dared rise, he'd knelt behind a stone wall with the other militiamen. Farmers, blacksmiths, boys pretending not to be boys. The captain had spoken plainly, "Stand your ground, do not fire unless fired upon." And then, unexpectedly, he bowed his head. "Lord," the captain said, voice steady but soft, "we are small. We are not mighty. But if you are with us, we will not be moved." Eli's mind had gone somewhere older than the green, older than the empire. He remembered the shepherd boy with a sling, the valley, the towering armor. He remembered how David didn't deny the size of Goliath. He denied Goliath's right to defy the living God. Eli had whispered then, not for courage to fight, but for courage to stand. "God of David," he prayed, "teach my hands to do what is right, even if my knees shake." Now the moment had come. A command rang out from a red line. The fog tore open with a crack of thunder. Smoke bloomed. A man beside Eli fell, breath gone like a snuffed candle. The world narrowed to noise and choice. Run or stand. Eli planted his feet, not because he felt brave, but because he felt held. He raised his musket with trembling arms, aiming not at a face, but at the space where duty met obedience. He fired. The recoil slammed his shoulder. The smoke swallowed everything. And in that white roar, Eli felt something steady rise within him. Not rage, not hatred, but resolve. The kind that comes when fear no longer gets the final word. The exchange was brief, chaotic, unfinished. Then orders, confused, urgent, pulled the redcoats back. The green was left scarred and silent, dotted with bodies and broken dreams. The militia did not cheer. They breathed. They checked on one another. They wept. Eli knelt again, musket across his lap, hands shaking harder now that the danger had passed. He did not know what the day would be called, or how the war would end. He only knew this: giants fall not because stones are strong, but because God is faithful. Years later, when the cost of freedom proved heavier than any musket, Eli would remember that foggy morning. He would remember that courage is not the absence of fear, is obedience in its presence. And he would tell his children that when the drums of the world beat loud, the smallest prayer can still shake the ground. Historical and biblical reflection. This story draws from the real tension and faith of colonial militia facing the British Army, while dramatizing a fictional soldier's inner prayer. Biblically, it reflects David's trust in God against overwhelming odds, 1 Samuel 17, showing that victory belongs to the Lord. The American virtue highlighted is steadfast courage, ordinary people standing firm, trusting providence while shouldering duty.